Hello there, and welcome back to another Starfield video. So I recently did a poll on my channel and in my Discord about ship builds and what people's preferred ship builds requirements were. As I am I'm a big lover of the shipbuilding in Starfield, and I haven't done too much like shipbuilding videos in quite a while. I know on stream I'm always building ships. But so I put up a poll, and basically the poll on both Discord and on this channel was, what's your guys' preferred method or setup for shipbuilding? Vanilla with no merging, meaning no merging, vanilla with merging, light mods, or heavily modded. Now, surprisingly, vanilla kind of had the highest votes overall, with heavily modded being kind of the second highest, which I found quite interesting because, to be completely honest, recently my builds kind of almost always had merging, and then when I started messing with mods, I made use of a lot of mods that I believed are kind of vanilla plus mods. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to give you what you want. So today we're going to do some shipbuilding, and this is going to be kind of a little bit of a how-to guide for anyone who's new, or maybe some refreshers. So I have no mods installed. I am on Xbox currently, just to confirm. Look at that. That's Xbox. Yeah. So the first thing is first, when shipbuilding, and obviously a lot of this is probably might not be relevant to you. If you're not new here, you'll know a lot of this. But I just want to kind of put this out because I feel like with the rumors of Starfield going to PlayStation and potentially Switch, there's hopefully going to be a lot of new Starfield players that, will be wondering, where do we start? So yeah, so when it comes to shipbuilding, there's various different parts in the game, which we'll go over. But one of the things, without any mods, shipbuilding can be kind of tedious, because if you want specific parts, you have to go to specific areas. So there's five main hab manufacturers in the game, meaning there's at least five sets of unique cockpits, landing bays, habs, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to really quickly show you where you would go for the specifics. So if you're after the first one, which would be Nova Galactic, you're going to want to go to the Sol system. We're going to really quickly jump there. All right, so while we're loading in, I'm just going to kind of briefly go over again what I was saying about. So yeah, so there's five main ship manufacturers in the game, and while you can find some of those manufacturers in various locations, there's kind of like a home region where you can access all of them. Now, as well as there being the five main ones, so we've got Nova Galactic, we've got Deimos, Stroud-Eklund, HopeTech, and Taiyo. There is also some like minor ship manufacturers that kind of make either weapons, engines, reactors, so on and so forth. Generally speaking, if you go to all of these five locations, you will get access to all of the parts. The only issue is that some manufacturers will only sell some of the parts. So we're here in the Sol system, and we're in New Homestead. This is the Sol system. There's Mercury, there's Earth, rip Earth. We're over here. One of Saturn's moons, Titan, has one settlement called New Homestead. So as soon as you land in New Homestead, you're gonna talk to that guy. That's cool. Yep. You're gonna go over to this gentleman here, and when you click on Modify Ships, you're going to notice he has some stuff. So if we go to bays, he has the Nova Galactic landing bay. There's only one Nova Galactic bay. He's got the 3 Nova cockpits. So he's got the Magellan C1, the Magellan C2, and the Cabot C3. Now, something to note here, you'll notice there's multiple versions. So the only real difference, and you'll see this a lot in regards to the ship parts and ship stuff, generally speaking, it's just a stat increase. There's nothing changes aesthetically. So the C1 you'll see here is 200 cargo, 5 hull, 2 crew. The C2 will have 220. The C2, or C1X, sorry. The C2 has 240, the C2X has 260. If we go to the Dockers, we see that we have the Nova Galactic Dockers. Engines, there'll be a list of engines here. Now, Nova Galactic don't do engines necessarily, but you will kind of find some older engines that would kind of fit with Nova Galactic ships. Fuel tanks, again, you will get some of the fuel tanks, not all of them though. Some are unique to certain regions. Actually, I think that might be all of them. Landing gear, we've got the 3 different Nova Galactic landing gear. These ones in particular, the NG-20, are very, very good because they offer the highest lander thrust capability. So basically, lander thrust means the heavier your ship is, the more thrust you will need to lift off. So yeah, these ones are awesome because they have 3 different variants. Grav drives, once again, Nova do make grav drives. They're absolutely dog shit. Don't ever use them. The habs, this is where kind of the other things. As you can see, we've got all the Nova habs are here. The 2x1s, the 2x2s, the 2x3s, 3x1s, all of them are here. And then we're going to have some reactors there. And then shields. Again, not all the shields are going to be available. If you do want to kind of build vanilla, but you're not opposed to using mods, I would definitely recommend downloading a mod that adds all of the parts to one location. Structural pieces you can actually access in one location, which we'll get to in a minute. So currently here for the structural pieces, you see we've got the Horizon weapon mounts, and then we've got all the Nova stuff there. And then weapons, once again, we've got various weapons. Not all the weapons are going to be listed here. So the next location we're going to go to, where you find the next group of kind of ship parts, is going to be the Deimos Staryard. That's right here. We're going to go there. All right, so here we are at Deimos Staryard. So Deimos Staryards is orbiting the moon of Deimos, which is one of Mars's moons. Deimos are the UC's primary ship manufacturer. They're very militarized looking, but they're not only military-based ships. So we're going to go talk to this gentleman down here. Good up and cow. How you doing? Yep. I'm glad it's your time for us civvies. All right, so now we're going to modify our ships. And just like before, we'll start off here. We've got the bays. This is the only Deimos landing bay. In my opinion, probably one of the best landing bays in the game. When it's kind of closed, it's like curved inwards, or like kind of ramped inwards. It looks really nice. Obviously with the cargo again, I believe there's like 2 sets of vendor related cargo. So, and what I mean by that is, so like let's say vendor A could sell one group of cargo, vendor B could sell a second group of cargo. So you'll see here we have some, and then you'll notice when we go to other vendors, we'll have different ones. Cockpits, again, we've got 2 sets of cockpits from Deimos. We've got the DS Phobos and the DS Ares. You'll see here we've got the 0.1, 0.2. Again, these are just stat increases. Nothing changes with the ship internally. We've got the Ares, again, 1, 2, and 1, 2. So the Ares is a larger one, kind of more, quite a popular bridge. Then we've got the Docker. So we've got 2 Dockers. Now this is the be-all end-all Docker in my opinion. The Deimos 100 DP Slim Docker top. This bad boy can fit absolutely anywhere. You can fit a ton of cargo on it. You can actually, but... and then we have the Docker top. Now this is actually quite a good Docker because this is one of the only Docker tops that can flip up and down. The Nova one I showed you, I do not believe it can flip up and down, which is a bit weird. But if you were merging, which we won't be merging today, we'll do a different video talking about merging. This would be perfect for merging because you can use this as a kind of to hold all of your different merged items. Anyway, next we're going to look at the engines. Again, we've got some engines. You may notice I believe these are going to be all the same because the system all sells the same. Fuel tanks, same again. Landing gear, we've got 2 types of landing gear. The 220 CB landing gear, and then we have the 320 CB. I like the 220. I think it looks really cool. Only issue is it doesn't have a lot of thrust, meaning takeoff can be slightly problematic. Grav drives, once again, you'll see some grav drives here. Habs, we've got the Deimos habs, the 1x1s, the 2x1s, all that stuff. Reactors, again, you're going to have the similar reactors. Not all of them, obviously. Same with the shields. And then structural pieces, you will have just the Deimos stuff. Now, Deimos structural pieces are, in my opinion, probably the best structural pieces in the game because they offer you a lot of customizability with some wing pieces and some side pieces. Very, very cool. So now we're going to go to the next location, which will be Hopetown, which is HopeTech. So I'm going to really quickly show you where that is. So we're going to bring up the map. And then you're going to see Narian here. You're going to click on it, but we're not going to Narian. We're instead going to Valo. And then on this planet Polvo, you will see Hopetown. We're going to click on it, and we're going to go there. All right, so we've landed at Hopetown, and we're going to bypass this guy here. And we're going to go directly to this room here, or this building. HopeTech. Now you can stay desperate, madam. We're going to go inside and we're going to talk to the lady at the desk. You need? You talk to this lady here. Hello.
If you get the credits,
yep.
We got,
Yep.
Give me
Yep. Yep. We're just going to skip this.
Oh. With HopeTech.
All right. I like sound of HopeTech.
A smart person. So what are you?
All right. So now we're going to modify.
Sure.
I like the aesthetic of HopeTech. I'm actually flying a HopeTech currently. So we start off here. We've got the HopeTech Bay. This is the largest bay in terms of like cubic space, which some people might like. So again, cargo. You'll see the cargo is going to be a little bit different. They have a lot of the Panopti stuff here and the protectorate systems. Cockpits, we've got two types of cockpits. We've got the Armstrong and the Overseer. Technically, there's the Commander, but the Commander is just a stat upgrade. So the Armstrong cockpit is a front-facing cockpit, so you connect to the front. The Overseer, which is my favorite cockpit in the game, sits on top of the ship, like so. Docker, we've got two Dockers. We've got the Docker 4, if you connect that to the front of your ship, or you've got the Hope 11 Docker that can be port and starboard. This is kind of cool if you're going for a asymmetrical build. Then engines, you'll see we have some different engines here. Some Slayton Aerospace engines. Which they're quite popular. We got some Slayton Aerospace, some Relodyne, and then fuel tanks. You'll see some different fuel tanks. These ones specifically are unique to here, I believe, or unique to the Freestar Collective area. These carry a lot of fuel. So landing gear, we've got the Hope 5 landing gear, which is my favorite looking landing gear. It looks really cool. Only downside is it only has a landing thrust of 1, which means it's very weak. We've got the Hope 55 landing gear, very cool. These have very high thrust of 4. And then we've got the Hope 6, which has 3 different variants. So you can see here we've got that version, and that version, which is really cool. Next, we've got the grav drives. As you see here, we've got some grav drives. Slayton Aerospace grav drives are going to be here. Slayton Aerospace is a ship manufacturer company that mainly does engines and grav drives, and they're based in the Freestar Collective. Habs here, we've got quite a few habs. We've got the 1x1s, the 2x1s, the 2x2s, 2x3s, 3x1s, 3x2s. We also have the HopeTech fuselages. These are really cool. And then we've got the HopeTech Hab cross brace and the Hab spine. Reactors. Unique to the Freestar Collective is there's the Xi'an reactor, so there's the Tokamak A-class, and there is the Ion Beam B-class. There's no C-class. Oh, no, there is. The Pinch is the C-class, my bad. And then we've got a few different types of shields here. Then structural, we have the HopeTech stuff. Some places will have, like, access to, all places will have the Horizon weapon mounts and the portholes. And then the HopeTech piece is there. Quite cool, but quite limited. The weapons will be a little bit different. So you're going to have your KE series autocannons, but you'll also have the Dangan PBs. I'll have like a few more. The Jishakus. Alright, so now we're going to go to the last location, which has the last 2 ship manufacturers. So we're going to head to Neon. So Neon is over here in Volai. And we're going to land. So I'm going to go to the core. Obviously, you would land normally. There's only one way to get to the core. So there's 2 ship manufacturers here. There's Stroud-Eklund and Taiyo. So Stroud-Eklund is nestled in over here to the left. So we've just spawned in. We're looking at the giant dragon. We're going to go right. I know I said left. We're going right. And then in here. Now, there is another location that does Stroud parts. There's actually a Staryard for Stroud, but this is 2 birds, 1 stone. We're going to bypass her. We're going to click on this, and we're going to view and modify. Stroud pieces start off with bays. Stroud have, they're the only one in the game that have a side bay that you can flip on each side. Pretty cool. So the cockpit, they've got the Viking CP cockpit, which is a very, very nice cockpit for crew immersion. There's a lot of workspace interior points. Then we've got the Kontiki B300 bridge, which is a top-mounted bridge. And then the Kontiki B500, which is another top-mounted, just larger. These are really good if you're trying to make a kind of a freighter or like a kind of a large hauler. Dockers, we've got two dockers. We've got the Connect Pro top and the Connect Pro sideways. Again, these are kind of cool, but I always revert back to the Deimos one. Engines, you're going to see some Slayton engines here. Fuel tanks, again, you're going to see. You'll notice a lot of these vendors are going to be similar because we're in the New Atlantis, or we're in the Freestar Collective territory. Only one landing gear, the AccuLander 11. There's 3 variants of this. 2 thrusts, so it's pretty decent. It's not like the worst, not the best. Grav drives, again. You're going to have access to some grav drives. Habs, we've got the 1x1, the 1x1. These ones are different. As you see there, they have like they basically have one section that like is just kind of closed off. You can't really connect to it, which is kind of cool. The 1x1, the 2x1, 2x2, 2x3, 3x1, 3x2. Reactors, again, you're going to see the same ones from HopeTech. Shields, you're going to see the same ones from HopeTech. Weapons, you'll also see the same ones from HopeTech. Now, the Stroud structural pieces are kind of a close second, in my opinion, behind Deimos. We've got a lot of really cool pieces that, like, for instance, we've got these pieces that look really cool. You can kind of make like a little... a kind of I don't know, like a protective layer. We've also got a load of pieces. They all work really well together. And like I said, they're right behind Deimos in terms of like usability and functionality. So finally, the last place we're going to go is we're going to exit out here. And we are going to go to the left or right? No, right. So we're basically going to the Ryujan Tower, which is over here. We're gonna run right to the end, and we're gonna run to that elevator you see me looking at. So nestled in the Ryujan Tower, we're gonna click here, and we're going to go to Taiyo Astroneering. This is the final shipbuilder, and this is why I kind of went here, just because there is Stroud-Eklund, there is a Stroud-Eklund Staryard, but 2 birds with 1 stone. So we're going to talk to the blue-haired lady here.
The transfer is complete, Miss Daisel. Welcome to the Taiyo family.
I can't believe it. Finally.
Okay.
I've been dreaming of this.
Just enjoy the moment.
Hello, Cora.
You've made the best decision of your life.
So I can take it for a spin now?
It'll be at the spaceport before you get there, fully topped up with helium-3. So yay!
Right.
You ready to change?
I'm right, I am.
People spend their
All right, whatever you say, lady.
Take a look at our cattle. Are you ready?
Yep, and then I'm going to talk to her. All right, so Taiyo are a bit of a weird one. So they have a small 1x1 landing bay, which is actually quite useful if you're trying to make compact ships. They also they've got all their cockpits are the same, and they're just stat bonuses. You have the Samurai, the Daimyo, the Shogun, and the Himeji. Docker, we've got the extended port Docker from Taiyo. Engines, again, you're going to see a lot of overlap between the other Freestar engines. These ones here actually work really well and look good with Taiyo ships. They're Relodyne. Fuel tanks, see similar. Grav drive we've got the Pinpoint 3G grav drive, which is 3 variants. We've got the front-facing version, the middle, and the rear. One little fact about the rear, even though these are landing gear, when you're flying the ship and you accelerate, it will actually fire off like thrust, which is really cool. Doesn't add anything to like your ship's speed, but it's cool all the same. Next, we have the Pinpoint 4G landing gear. The Pinpoint 4G landing gear ports. This is kind of a bigger one. And then we have the 4G Plus, which looks really cool. It's kind of hard to incorporate it into a build. Grav drives, again, they're going to be all similar. There's a lot of Habs with Taiyo, primarily because Taiyo tried to keep their ships quite sleek. So you'll see there's bottom, medium, and top habs here. Reactors, you're going to see an overlap with some of the other stuff. Shields, the same. Structural, Taiyo has some cool structural pieces, but weirdly they don't work very well together if you're trying to make a kind of a nice streamlined vessel. And then weapons, obviously, yeah. So one thing to note, Nova Galactic is the only hab in the game that is completely unique interiors, and I've done videos on this in the past. Stroud and Deimos are basically reskins of one another. Even though their habs look different on the outside, on the inside they're pretty much the exact same, just a color change. Taiyo and HopeTech are the same as well. Even though Taiyo prides itself on being like a luxury kind of like the Apple of the space world, they basically just have a white version of the HopeTech stuff, which is a bit funky. So yeah, so with now me showing you the 5 main locations, building without any mods can be a little tricky. Let's say you want a cockpit from like Deimos and you want a hab from Nova Galactic. You're going to have to basically bounce between locations to basically pick them up. However, there is one nice caveat. You get access to all of the structural pieces in-game if you build an outpost. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Alpha Centauri, and we're going to build an outpost, and you're going to see that we get access to all of the ship stuff. So I need to go... We'll be right back. I'm going to jump to Alpha Centauri. All right, so here we are now at New Atlantis. I don't know what is going on in my game. It's like doing weird noises. So we're in Jameson, and I have just landed this random area, and we have put down an outpost. Here's the outpost here. And then we are going to spawn a shipbuilder. Landing pad with shipbuilder, you need 2 beryllium, 30 iron, 2 zero wire, and 20 or 18 adaptive frames. So I'm going to press the toggle view to give us the big view, so we can like find an area to place this. Oh, don't tell me my luck. I've placed it somewhere it won't let me place it. You mother... Okay, no. There we go. Okay, there. Perfect. So now once this is placed, so the reason I kind of recommend doing this, I don't know why. Game is stuttering a little bit. I have a feeling that's probably because I'm to the closed. I have no mods enabled, so it's not a mod fault. Law. Alright, so the reason I would recommend using this is because if we go into it, we can buy ships, we can also modify. When we go to modify, we have access to every single structural piece in the game. All of the different HopeTech, Nova, Stroud, Taiyo, Deimos, which I think arguably, in my opinion, is what kind of makes a ship feel and look unique. So yeah, so obviously if you're let's it's not going to have access to everything because we're in it has all the bays. It doesn't have all the cockpits though. So it'll have some stuff, but obviously not all of the stuff. Not all the bays. Yeah, that is all the bays. Interesting. It doesn't have all the cockpits. It has all the dockers. Doesn't have access to all of the engines, all the fuel tanks, all the gear. So yeah, so you'll have to jump around for some. It has some habs. Obviously not all of them. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is, now that that's done, we're going to build a ship. So I'm going to take my Songbird and we're going to delete it. Now, I'm not using any merging, so you would be able to merge. Merging is, like, you can do it vanilla. But what I like to do when building a ship is I like to kind of, first of all, this is going to be all on the off the cuff, on the fly. Most of my builds that I end up liking the most, they tend to be kind of just out of nowhere. So when building, I like to kind of, I will either go with a cockpit first and then kind of do a basic layout and then kind of go from there. We'll do a Deimos ship today. So I'm going to use and again, like I said, any of the cockpits, like they're all stat related as in these ones. I'm just going to choose this one. Start with the cockpit. And then I like to lay out the habs. Now you can mix and match habs. Sometimes, obviously, they'll stand out a bit. Nova ones are kind of hard to blend in, as you can see. We're going to do Deimos. So we're going to do a Deimos. We'll do a... I'm going to do a When I'm putting this companionway here to act kind of like an airlock. And then we're going to have it all in one berth here. And then we're going to have we're going to put an armory on the left. And we're going to put a workshop on the right. And then what we're going to do... You also need to try and, when you're building it, you want to try and figure out where you're going to be putting your reactor and your grav drive. The issue with a lot of these sort of buildings, when you're not using merging or modding, there's going to be some asymmetry with your build because, yeah, normally when I'm building, what I tend to do is I make use of mods that allow me to have decorative reactors. So I will have 2 reactors, one on each side, so it looks, you know. So what we could do is we could put them there, but I'm going to wait a minute. So we're going to, where should we put? So for a reactor, we'll make this a B class. So we'll grab this reactor, and we'll put it there for the moment, but obviously we'll be kind of maneuvering, and I might actually put it there. Now, where you're going to put your bay is probably your next big thing. I'm going to be using the Deimos bay, because I just think it looks the coolest. You see the attachment point of the bay is there, so I'm going to put the attachment point right there near that airlock. Now just to smooth it, because I'm going to use a structural piece, we're going to use this Deimos belly piece, we're going to put that there. Oh, I just realized no merging. Okay, I wasn't thinking about that. So here's the thing, right? With merging in-game is when you merge objects inside of other objects to try and make them seamless. Now, in this instance here, this isn't what I would class as a major merge because it sits there, but that's not going to sit there. We're going to have to see if we can get a different part to put there instead of it. Now, will we be able to get a different part? Probably not. See, I could just flip it the other way, but it won't sit flat. Interesting. Okay. No, we'll persevere. I need something that can like sit there, but isn't. Yeah. See, because of how big the Deimos will you fit there? I honestly don't think anything's gonna fit in there, to be honest with you. See, if I was merging, I would put like a piece like that there. Will you go there actually for weapons? No. This is kind of highlighting why there's certain elements of the base kind of shipbuilding that is a bit tedious. Like this piece here, for instance, like not being able to attach it is just kind of like, really? Really? Right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this down a little bit. We're going to put the... Where's the all-in-one berth? Yeah, we'll put the landing bay here. And I'm going to use the... to use this piece. We're going to put this piece here, like so. It kind of looks nice. What I'm going to do is I am going to... So we're going to put... putting the reactor up on top, like so. Just for kind of reasons. We got the reactor there. Now we're gonna do engines. I'm just trying to think what engines would look the nicest. We could do some B-class engines, kind of look cool. There, the other thing is they're a bit large. I kind of wanted to go like smaller. Obviously, we don't have access to every single engine. We're gonna do some. We'll do some of these. We'll do some Relodyne. Is there any other? See, we don't have. Maybe. I have how many of these do I have? For these actually. Like so. And then we're going to. The big thing is like my symmetry. I like symmetry brain is going, or might not symmetry brain. My symmetry stuff is going a little crazy. I wonder. What if we put it there? Does that look funky if we put it there? That doesn't look too bad. And then we're gonna put these here. Again, if I was merging, I would definitely merge a different cockpit there. Let me see, what does that look? It's Nova Galactic, we don't touch Nova Galactic. Aurora, yeah, the Aurora probably looks better. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Way down the bottom. Utility docker, landing gear, and fuel tanks. So we're going to get some landing gear. Now, obviously, we don't have the landing gear we want because reasons. Now we're going to make use of these landing gear. I mean, these don't look too bad. But again, it's the lack of symmetry. I'm trying to make it as symmetrical as possible. Oops. Do there is I'm going to flip these backwards like so we have a little bit of a kind of a looks like we're doing something, we're cooking, as they say. Next we're going to need some fuel tanks. So fuel tanks, we go with small ones or big ones. I'm going to go with some of these. And again, you can't flip them. See, this is kind of pretty funny. Obviously we've got like larger fuel tanks there. Do we have any of the big ones? Oh, we got the small ones we could put there. Yeah, we'll put you there. You there, and you there. And then all we need now is a docking port, which we will get to. But with the slim dock, so we've got two options. We have this big boy here, which we could like feasibly kind of put anywhere within reason. We could put it there. Should we put it at the back, maybe? Or do we want to put it underneath? We could put it down here in place of this. Like so. That looks a bit funky though. See, ideally what we want to do is, I mean, we've got side dockers. If we put it there, it wouldn't function. It would be like, docker needs to be outside the ship. What we're going to do is we're going to, more than likely, we're going to use this one. See where it's placed there, it kind of works fine, but I don't like the placement of it. I might do is we use one of these big boys there. Doesn't look too bad. Now, so the ship itself is functional. We don't have any weapons and we don't have shields, so we'll do the shields in a moment. What I want to do now is I'm just trying to kind of get some structural pieces. We'll put some windows there. This is obviously a very simple build, but I just kind of wanted to... Interesting. flip these around so that the snap points are on the outside, so I can snap to them like so. Like so. Perfect. And then we have, so we could do this and kind of like have it, but I don't like how that looks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually make use of some of these pieces. We're gonna put you here, and then we're gonna put the here. The back. We're gonna put, we need a tail because, you know, tails are nice. Tail like so. Now the question is, do we want to put the reactor, this on top and the reactor on the bottom? Maybe. How does that look? So you could obviously make use of our like reactors. We could, if we had access to certain ones, we could kind of hide them a little better. If I was merging, I would 100% merge a piece inside there. But we're not merging. Alright, so now what we'll do is... So for the shield, so we need a shield, we need a B-class shield, which 28T is the one you would like. Now, sadly, will you snap to the... So you want to snap there, but you won't, so... We could do a warden. Yeah, let's do a warden. We'll do a warden 400. Is that gonna let me use... Yeah, okay, cool. We'll do the warden there, because it's... Yeah, cool. Oh, yeah, decent shield, and now we're going to use some weapons. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some KE-31 auto cannons. We're going to have one here. We're going to have one there. And one there. Like so. Actually, I'm going to put one underneath. Like that. Yeah, so we've got like a large way. That's going to be our primary armament. Secondary armaments, we're going to go with... I like to go with lasers. Obviously, you've got to be careful of the power usage. So these are 4 power. Which means we can only have 3 of them. Some are 3 power, which means we can have 4. Now, obviously, with the reactor, again, with the reactor, we've got a really good reactor. You can obviously replicate this build with lower level reactor and stuff. We're going to put you there, like so. And then, finally, we will do... So that's going to be our autocannons. That's going to be our singe. Our autocannons. And then finally, we'll have some missiles. Get some B-class missiles, something that looks nice. It's... Actually, we'll put the missiles underneath and put this up on top. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll put the missile launchers there. Perfect. Now... I think there's a little bit more we can do structurally. It's just trying to figure out like what I can kind of do structurally. So obviously we could use like Nova pieces here and like make smaller... Oh, maybe actually. Hold on now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to delete these big shields or these big... We're going to delete the big ones, the big landing or the reactors. And we're going to use these small ones here. We're going to put one here. And one on the other side. Now this thing is going to have a lot of fuel. Like, what is that? 800 fuel is kind of insane. I'm actually going to do is I'm going to delete them. And we're gonna go into structural, and I'm gonna see if I can put some backwards. Yeah. The thing is, we could extend these out a bit, like we could snap these there if you wanted to, but I kind of want to keep it as is. Can I use the small ones in there without any issue? Yeah, I can. Okay, cool. We're going to use these here just to kind of give a little bit more structure to the middle of the vessel. Just so it looks a bit less. And then underneath... See, I don't think it's going to let me put anything on this. Yeah, it's not going to let me put anything on the sides of these. Obviously, we need a little bit of cargo. See, normally I don't worry too much about cargo unless I'm building like because you can, generally speaking, I always say just store them at the lodge or your house. But if you are if you want it to be like a lived-in ship, then obviously cargo is nice. So no, I don't want the ballast shielded. You could put some cargo there, but that's gonna... Engine's about to get fried. The last thing we would like is to fry our engines, because that would be kind of problematic. Actually, what we could do is we could remove these fuel tanks. Put two of these down here, one there. On the other side. Then go back into our fuel tanks. And... where we could attach them. See, it wants to go there, but no. There's a snap point underneath. Too big, too big. What about smaller? Anything smaller would snap from above? No. See, probably the simplest option would be... think. Right, so we're gonna actually move. We're gonna move these lasers to the outside, like so. I'm going to remove that middle section, and I think I can place one of these there. Yeah, I can. So we're gonna move this. I'm gonna place you there, like so. Place the other one. Is there actually a lot? Let me see. There are other ones. That one. Don't carry an awful lot. That's the only downside of it. Oh yeah, these ones actually would probably look better. The only thing about them is I don't like how they... Does that mess with it? Technically it doesn't. But you can kind of see here why like merging is something that it is kind of, well, people like using. So you know what? I've got an idea. Hold the phone. Put the fuel tanks there. Question is, which fuel tanks look the best? Those ones there, those ones there don't look too bad actually. Now, we could obviously go with like bigger ones. So like for instance, you go with these bad boys and like slap them there. right above the engines. They're a bit too big for my liking. What is the issue? Minimal. Okay, landing gear is not good enough because we're about to get a little bit heavier. That's perfectly fine. We can tweak that. Is it these? Probably these. Oh, that's not actually moving that back that far. So actually, that actually does a lot, to be fair. And then on the front here, we'll do another landing bay like so. So there we go. So that is what we call this. So it's obviously it's an amalgamation of various different craft. We've got our workshop, we've got our armory, and then we've got like a companionway with an all-in-one. What should we call this? We'll call it the... Kind of giving like Stingray vibes. Call the Sting. We'll give it a... Obviously, our engines are, you know, a bit... You can swap these other engines. So we're going to call this the Stingray. Just like it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a... Like somebody took an old Deimos fighter and kind of attached some other pieces onto it. Now let's... Color scheme is obviously one of the trickier parts with like ship builds, because I feel like you could spend ages making an awesome ship, and then for whatever reason it just doesn't come to fruition. Normally what I like to do is I like to kind of mix and match pieces. We'll make these yellow because that's the fuel. And then... Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So this is obviously just meant to be kind of an intro how to ship build. I will do some more. I'll be doing some more vanilla kind of builds without merging. I'll also be doing some merging as well, because I do feel like merging is like a step up, because a lot of the base ships in the game actually have merging in them. Like an example, like I said, this cockpit here, like you can't put things under it, like, which is really obnoxious. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.